Hello, welcome back to Only One Again. My name is Bonnie, and this is a channel where I'm going to be talking about some true crime cases, sometimes family vloggers. Today I'm talking about the Dougherty Dozen, just a little bit. I know there are a lot of channels here on YouTube that talk about the Dougherty Dozen and the problematic Alicia, who is in control of the whole thing. I just wanted to point out a couple of things that I've noticed recently. One of the things is that her stands on TikTok are really aggressive. Like, I have just a couple of videos on my TikTok channel about, bringing attention to why family vloggers, specifically Dougherty Dozen, are problematic, right? Child exploitation, taking advantage of their stories, their private information, and sharing it with millions of strangers for views and money. That's annoying to me. That's problematic. And I think it's important to kind of open the eyes of all of these stans who are obsessed with protecting and promoting this family vlogging channel. I think it's kind of weird how connected and obsessed with them their fans are, but also how like aggressively they will protect her, even when I'm pointing out things that are clearly, obviously problems. But anyways, so today I thought I'd put together a couple of clips because whenever I talk about family vlogging channels and I talk about how I think that it's inappropriate to use your children for money and you're trading your children's privacy for money, right? I think whenever I talk about that, everybody on TikTok specifically says, where's the proof? She's the perfect mom. I think she's the best. I wish she would adopt me. And I get it. I get why, especially the younger people on TikTok would see all the benefits, right? They see the new iPhones that they get, not even at Christmas time, just randomly. They see the trips that they get to go on. They see all the fun stuff, the birthday presents, the overspending. They see all of that stuff, obviously, because it's edited together to make it look fun and great. But they don't see the negative side. They don't see why anybody would have a problem. In fact, most of the comments that I get, or maybe it's half and half, there's some people who understand what I'm trying to say, but many, many, many of the commenters say things like, you're jealous. You are too old to be talking about this, which that doesn't offend me. I'm not offended by much. But they also say things like, what's your problem? Why are you bullying this mother? Why are you mom shaming? Why are you picking on this family? Why are you so obsessed? I'm not obsessed. I just think it's fascinating how normalized this is and how she's sort of revered as the perfect mom, and nobody can see anything wrong with what family channels are doing. So I thought I'd just spend a little bit of time here on YouTube showing some of this proof, right? And I'm not the only one. There's plenty of really great YouTubers on here who are very good at, pulling together the evidence. They're going on the subreddit page. They're going on looking up all of this evidence to put together. But I just thought I'd put in my opinion.
Here, but she said, are they all yours? And I said, yes. And that's what I always say, because I feel like it's not right to say, oh no, these ones are biological, these ones are adopted, these ones are foster. No, you're staying in my house, you're technically under my care, and I'm gonna just say you're mine instead of exposing any story to random strangers.
Ash and Alicia Dougherty. After 9 years of infertility, we decided to adopt from foster care. We adopted Alex when he was 5 years old. 6 days later, we found out we were pregnant with Zoe. The next year, we adopted James from foster care, and 2 weeks later, we found out we were pregnant with Dash. The next year, we were asked to take foster care placement of Jason and Jordan, and we eventually adopted the twins. We also gave birth to Bodie and Harley. Then we found out about a sibling group in a residential treatment facility that needed a family, so we adopted Patrick and Bree. And we recently took kinship placement of Deshawn and Nevaeh, and that's how we became the Dougherty Dozen.
One of the things that she does that I wanted to point out is that she overshares their personal medical history, their diagnoses, their things that they have to struggle with that should be nobody's business but their own. And I really hesitated on this one because I don't want to add to it. I don't want to be somebody who adds to the problem. But commentary channels, people are trying to point out the problem, to help their obsessive fans dig a little deeper to see what's really going on. So here is an example.
You put all of those evaluations together over the past 12 years, and that's his full list of diagnoses. He is small because he has a chromosome 2 duplication, which also displays very similar to autism. He has full fetal alcohol syndrome as well. He has RO PTSD, add in low IQ genetics, severe trauma, attachment disorder. He was dealt the worst deck of cards in life. Hey, so 9 of our 10 children are diagnosed with ADHD, as are myself and my husband. So there are 11 of us in this house that are medicated for ADHD. Harley is the only one not with the diagnosis. She's only 2 years old. And we also have, all of us have the associated sleep issues that come with ADHD. So almost all of us take melatonin if we want to. Means there are a lot of medications, vitamins, and supplements to sort out. While some have medical needs like gastroparesis, many of our children adopted from foster care battle bipolar genetics combined with their PTSD. Many of our children were traumatized before they moved in with us. I want them to know that they can always come to our bedroom in the night if they feel scared and need to sleep in here. The other reason is because 3 of our biological children have a seizure disorder. Our 2 adopted twins have asthma. 3 years of his life not eating solids due to several factors: gastroparesis, oral dysphagia, autism, food pickiness, and now
she's gonna get her period like at any moment, any time, and she's not gonna know.
So she wears like period underwear every day?
some of my children battle incontinence.
Would you as a teenager want your peers to know all about what kind of underpants you wear, who in your family's wearing diapers, who's got fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, who's got autism, who's got all of these things? I mean, if the child wants to disclose that themselves, that's their story to tell. That's their private information, and it's shocking to me how freely she just talks about it. Now, her weekly grocery shopping hauls have been discussed to the extreme. She gets a real kick out of spending money. Also, a lot of people have defended her by saying fed is best. So it doesn't matter what kind of food she buys. If it's junk food, if it's just chips and cookies for the most part, at least they're eating, which I actually do understand that point. However, if you're trying to set a good example and you're trying to help these children, which she has made full videos on many of her adopted children having FASD, and how food is really, really important. Their diet is really important when you're trying to help treat a lot of their issues that they've got. So she herself has been sort of like educating the world or whatever about why sugar, carbs, food dyes, a lot of these dairy, a lot of these types of foods specifically need to be drastically reduced in their diet. But at the same time, she'll go and stock up her pantry full of every kind of chip you can think of, the sugariest cereals, every kind of cookie, and she doesn't seem to care anymore about that. So it's just a little bit hypocritical, a little bit confusing.
Of diet when it comes to children with fetal alcohol spectrum disorders and trauma history. We realized a couple of years into parenting our first child with these issues that he needed some major gut healing due to the early neglect and the fetal alcohol. So what we did, and I will admit we went a little extreme with our first of 6 children that we've adopted with these disorders.
So we did the elimination diet, slowly brought things back in. As we went on to our 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th adopted child with these disorders, we kind of knew from there how to figure out what they were sensitive to and eliminate that from their diet. Sugar, a lot of these kids are very sensitive to sugar, and that reminds me, sugar and dairy and carbs, they can create an addiction to, because these children they were predisposed to addiction in utero, and basically for the rest of their life they will always have to watch for things that they could be addicted to. And I'm not talking just food. I mean, it could be video games or drugs, cigarettes, alcohol, carbs, sugar, dairy. Those things can become an addiction. So we really limit sugar, we limit food dye. Snack. This will work. Just get a bunch of those because Bodie likes to pack 3 packs of mini Oreos a day for his snack at school. And then my other kids will eat the other ones. Bree loves those Nutter Butter bites. Alright, here's breakfast. We have 2 dozen donuts.
We grabbed Dunkin' at the airport for breakfast. We grabbed donuts at Dunkin' on our way to horseback ride. I grabbed Dunkin' Donuts for their after-school snack. For snack, we got McDonald's and ate out by...
Besides the food and giving away their private personal information, she also has talked about how she gives away their street address where they live.
No, our address is on Google, so I've given up caring.
The schools that they go to, she talks about their schedule so that obsessive fans, which they've got a lot of them, can go and, you know, find out where they live, what their schedule is for the week. She's also talked about their bus stop numbers. She shows their bus stop number and where the kids get off the bus, and any parent concerned with safety would never dream of just, you know, giving away that information to complete and utter strangers on the internet, many of whom are crazy, right? And so now she has security, and she's got security guards who travel with them. I did see her behind the scenes roll call with the Mets, which I thought was very interesting to see how these roll calls are so fake.
Just let her go.
You both can be Lindor.
Hey, somebody say Jeff McNeil.
Oh,
I got you. If he stays.
Ooh, who wants to say?
All right, behind the scenes, a roll call. Harley is opting out of this.
Somebody say McCann.
But it was a sponsored ad for the Mets, so I can see why they wanted to have it somewhat scripted. But I just sort of thought, you know, it wasn't just a free, fun weekend for the kids to go and travel around New York. It was a working vacation, if you want to call it that. They had to work many, many hours. And again, it goes back to that TikTok thing. On the TikTok, she only shares these really short clips of, for example, the little roll call. And all of her fans say, yay, how fun, they're so lucky, you're the best mom. They don't see that her dragging the kids straight from the airplane, going on very little sleep, going from one activity to the next, which is all connected with her job. She's working these kids so that they can get the money. I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me, especially since so many of these kids have trauma and have these different diagnoses where it would be, in my opinion, even harder for them to have to deal with this job of being a social media family.
Like being on social media?
Yeah.
And she usually bribes Harleys with what?
Yeah. I'll talk to you. No, I need to be making dinner, so.
No, I want to.
Another really common thing that I see from Alicia's stans is, you know, they say something like, well, let's see you try to do it. Or they say, well, at least they've got a roof over their head and they're fed. Or I'll see something like, oh, well, you know, it's not that bad. I'm sure they'll get over it when they open up all their Christmas gifts, that sort of a thing. And in other words, a lot of her fans are saying, oh, well, it could be a lot worse. At least she's not, you know, hitting them or abusing them. And I don't see why the bare minimum should be the bar that, like, you, it just, that argument is ridiculous. Why? So if somebody's doing something that I think is wrong, like, you know, exploiting their kids in this way, the argument is, oh, well, it's not as bad as other people have it. So why do you care so much? I care because people are normalizing it so much. They're putting her up on this pedestal. She's getting millions and millions of dollars from her social media. she's literally giving away she's using her children to make all of this money. Just doesn't sit right with me. And I don't always have the right words to respond back to these commenters, but I'm hoping that you can see with some of these examples what I'm talking about and why it's wrong. Let me know in the comments what you think. Am I off or is this problematic?
Yeah.
Zoe, let me tell you something. Anybody who says that bribes are not used at some point is not telling the truth. We all use bribes at some point when they are
It's my
needed.
best parenting tactic.